Saudi Cup and welcome to another episode for the Funkit Pod, the MMA part of the show, MMA Corner, MMA Monday. We stick with MMA Monday. The one, the only, the OG, back in your life. MMA Monday here for the Funkit Pod. It's MMA Monday. Okay, enough. Let's talk about a few things because there's been so many things happening this weekend and something's going to happen this coming week. So let's talk about it. Again, not a review show, focusing on the media part and like what the media should be doing, how they should build it, what has been done, and so on. So let's jump right into it. UFC 278 just finished a few hours ago, and we have a new champion and new Leon Edwards. Amazing first round, really crappy second, third, fourth round. Like he seemed to have given up and been dominated by Usman, with vintage Usman. I got really mad at him. Like he's got such a great skill set, right? But I think it was his first round when Leon had like a glancing jab, was it? Like on his glanced at cheek, and he claimed it was an eye poke, which it wasn't. And then later down the road, in like third round or something, Leon with like a front kick, and Usman said it was a low blow, which it wasn't clearly. So many fence grabs by Usman, and Leon grabbed the fence too, of course, but Leon got punished by the ref. Usman didn't. So it's just a bit. He's got a great skill set, but all those things make you just dislike him a little. It's like, dude, why? Like, duh. Anyways, Usman Edwards' final round, and then it didn't. You can't say he caught him because it was, as a Muay Thai fighter myself, I loved this setup. It was fantastic. Like a left jab, feint setup, basically. I mean, he threw the jab, but then while Usman was biting on the jab, he throws the left high kick right afterward, which is, if you're into martial arts, if you're kickboxing, Muay Thai, and so on, you know it's like hard to throw that without showing that you're doing it, like throwing like the jab and then the kick right after it is hard to do without like a big setup, like you want to like load up or something. So this was pretty nice. It was pretty well done. Obviously, I mean, he's a fantastic striker. So that was great. So, and new Leon Edwards, congratulations. I wasn't a fan of the celebration where he's like headshot dead, yeah. Dude, in all the interviews he's so polite and stuff, it's like yeah, gangster. So that didn't really fit. So from a media point of view, PR point of view, I would tell him, Leon, tone it down a little bit. You're not that person. Like, stay humble, stay the nice guy that you always are in interviews. Don't be like the headshot dead who, because you've never done that. Like it's nothing cool to say. So moving forward, of course, there's gonna be a rematch. Like Usman defended, I don't know, 4 times or so. Actually, not that much, to be honest. And he didn't get Anderson Silva's record. Yes, I'm all for new records and stuff, but it's great if the GOAT remains the GOAT for a while, right? So, but I think there must be the rematch. I don't, even if it's ridiculous that they even talk about Khamzat getting a title shot if he beats Nate Diaz. It's Nate Diaz. Is Nate even ranked? Seriously. Anyways, we're not here to talk about this. That's what you will hear on Ariel and Luke and so on. But I want to talk about like the media presentation. And first of all, what really bothered me was here that the UFC clearly only highlighted Usman, if at all, right? It's always Usman, superstar, Leon Edwards. Over there in the UK, no one cares. BT Sports luckily did a fantastic job at like highlighting Edwards, his journey. They had a fantastic trailer. He was doing like martial arts, Bruce Lee style, which was really cool. But it was BT Sports. So it was lame from the UFC. So the UFC was clearly hoping that Usman would dispatch of Edwards and they can get rid of him because he's a bit weird on the mic, right? Apparently he's super cool off the mic. That's what other fighters are saying, but on the mic he's not the greatest, of course, but in the octagon he's fantastic. The first round showed it, for example, right? And he has some, I think, confidence, maybe ego problems at times, but his skill set is fantastic. So what they should be doing now moving forward, they gotta highlight Edwards' skill set more. Maybe give him like a speech trainer or something, just someone that helps him a little bit, like just a few talking points, and like what Andrew Schulz did with Alex Volkanovski, for example. Like Schulz should interview Edward. Schulz is still in the UK, right? Andrew, you're watching my podcast or you're listening to it. Talk to Leon Edwards, make him cool. That would be something that they should be doing. Because, I mean, his moves are awesome, so he could have a huge following, I believe. So highlight him more. Usman should just shut up, start wearing T-shirts, and maybe go back to I don't know, what go back to. I don't know. That's hard to say, because, I mean, he dominated 3.5 rounds. With like his vintage wrestling foot stomping style. I know maybe he took it too easy, thought he can just wrestle him. I know, but I mean, the last few fights he was looking like he would love the striking. I don't know what happened there. He probably takes the rematch or gets the rematch and puts on a show again. But maybe he should just take a step back from all the I'm the man, because it's a really bit annoying. Like, you would also walk around like this if you would look like this. Oh, shut up. Seriously. Shut up. Bitch, be humble. Oh, sorry. Be humble. Yeah, maybe just be more humble. Back to the grind. I think that might be something. So that's what's going to happen for those two. Then we had a co-main event, Luke Rockhold versus Paolo Costa. It was ridiculous. What a ridiculous fight. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Ridiculous fight. In the end, it was a UD for Paolo Costa. Of course, no question there. But Luke Rockhold with a few awesome desperation moves. Ridiculous. He then retired afterwards. Before mushing his blood into Paolo Costa's face, rubbing it in his face. Fantastic. What's next here? Luke Rockhold, I mean, gonna go back to modeling, wherever he's doesn't have to talk a lot. He's gonna start his own podcast. Luke Rockhold needs his own podcast with the Schmo or something. Because I mean, he has unique takes. It's fun to listen to him, but you can't have him on a broadcast or anything because you can't take him serious. Like he's too much of a straight shooter and sometimes too much of a weirdo, which is awesome on a podcast, but maybe not awesome on a live ESPN broadcast, for example. But I see him doing stuff like this, of course, acting and so on. By the way, those overhead shots from the octagon showed that Luke Rockhold does age, because you can see that he's losing hair just like everybody else. Anybody else, we all do that, but it was nice to see that even Rockhold isn't safe from that. In the end, in the interview with Joe Rogan, he's like, "Man, I gave it my all, but I'm just too effing old." The first time I can relate to Luke Rockhold, the first time that we have something in common. I appreciate it, Luke Rockhold. Boy, Shinya, I mean, interesting strategy. So yeah, cool. The takedown and whatever. I'm not a fan, but he's coming into his own. His English is getting so much better, so let him do whatever. He's great on social media, him or his girlfriend or whoever runs it. Great work on social media. Keep doing your thing. One of the few fighters who I think is using social media right. Don't always agree with what he's doing, but that he's doing stuff is good. Keep doing it. So Paolo Costa doing a good job right now. Him and his girlfriend / management, good job. So he's going to get a good fighter out of this, no problem. Co-main event, Jose Aldo Jr., the biggest pop of the night, ridiculous. I love the fans in Utah for giving him this reception. It was fantastic. Versus Merab Divashvili. It was just boring as wrestling by Divashvili. Can't blame him, I guess. He did what he had to do to win the fight, but boring AF. I'm sorry for Jose Aldo, but I mean, if you face something like Aldo and you're a good wrestler, that's what you do, right? So, yeah, that's just it. The fans were my favorite here. Jose Aldo doesn't do much media. He's one of the last few ones who had just his success speak for him in the octagon. I hope he doesn't retire, because he didn't get outclassed, he just got out-wrestled. Outpaced a little bit in this case. But yeah, it would still be fun to see him fight Dominic Cruz or whatever, even though I think he killed Cruz probably. But it would be nice. So media-wise, I mean, he never does anything anyway, so it's hard to give the King of Rio tips or tell the King of Rio to do something. He's at a stage in his career, and the fans now showed it that he just needs to show up and people go crazy. So just show up again, Jose Aldo. I want to see you again. Fight in Rio. We need a fight in Brazil. If it's early next year, that's what they have planned. Jose Aldo on that card, and the crowd goes crazy. I want to see that. But Divashvili, he can't say anything. That was terrible. I mean, it was great because he came out without any problems, whatever. But it was just boring ass fight. So he cannot talk any trash right now, and he definitely does not deserve to pass Chito Vera for a title shot or anything like that. So he's just gonna be quiet, get another fight, dominate the next fight. He gonna go to the Sterling road. If that's how he fights, he has to go the Sterling route. Like, I mean, not Sterling talks trash, so whatever. No, but I mean, fighting everybody until there's nobody left, and they have to give you the title shot. That because you don't deserve to jump the people that put on exciting fights, even though that's not how it's supposed to be, I know, but it's just how it is. Also from a promoter point of view, from a media point of view, the media wants to see people who put on a show, right? So okay, so that's my takes on those three. Lastly, quick mention of Tyson Pedro, who knocked out Harry Hansucker within like a minute or so. Awesome. I seen him on Izzy's channel. Great character. He should do more. He had a podcast apparently, but they stopped, I think. But he should do more. Like Tyson Pedro, very likable guy. Seems to be very straightforward. Like, I mean, just a typical Aussie bloke. Straight shooter. Love it. So Tyson Pedro, I know you're probably also watching this or listening to this. Do more media. Do more social media. Do more podcasts, videos, whatever. Because you're cool. So that was nice. Okay, that's the UFC stuff. We had BKFC. Mike Perry knocks out or stops MVP. Surprising. I can't even comprehend it yet. Fireworks here in the background near in Bangkok. Awesome for him, and he calls out Jake Paul. So I can't even say anything. That's exactly what you have to do. Well done, Mike Perry. That's it. There you go. Yeah, if you stop MVP, if you win against MVP, you call out Jake Paul. Shoot your shot. There you go. Well done. Again, there's nothing else to say about this. Yeah, that's exactly what you do. If you're BKFC, you promote it. You give him the go. You give him like what Bellator did with MVP. You do the same thing with Mike Perry. You say, okay, you can have one fight with Jake Paul in Jake Paul's promotion, Showtime or whatever. Go for it. That's exactly what you do. Perfect. Yeah, can criticize. Who would have thought I agree with Mike Perry? Yeah, us black people have to stick together. That was a joke. It's because Mike Perry's not. Okay, you know what. Okay, we had Usyk versus Joshua as well. Boxing, I have not watched it. I just saw the result in a split decision. Yeah, I can't criticize or say anything because I haven't seen it, which tells you that especially over here in this part of the world, no one really cared about it, unfortunately. But I will recap it soonish. Lastly, one championship, and that's something that I can speak on live a lot, is going to return and will have its first fight on One Prime. They're now on Prime, right? And it's called One Prime 1. They used to have like those titles like Winter Warriors and stuff like this for the fight cards. Not anymore. Now they just number it. And this is now the first one on Amazon Prime. So it's One Prime 1, I believe. I have it right here. One on Prime Video 1. Great title. Moraes versus Johnson 2 headlines that thing. So let's dive right into it. And here I do a little bit of like preview stuff because I simply assume that not everybody knows one championship fighters that well. While of course everybody knows Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson, who won the Grand Prix, but then also lost to Adriano. So the Grand Prix is like the huge belt, but then you get the chance to fight the champion. And then when you fought the champion, Adriano Moraes, in flyweight, he lost to Moraes because Moraes threw the knee while Johnson was grounded, and it's legal in one. Soccer kicks are not. They haven't been legal since 2016, so Joe Rogan stopped that bullshit. There are no soccer kicks in one championship. It's also not one FC anymore. It's one championship. Well, there are no soccer kicks since 2016. No. Knees to the ground opponent, yes, and that's how Adriano Moraes knocked out Demetrious Johnson, stopped him. So now that's the rematch. The thing is, with one championship, and Mighty Mouse never complains, which is great, fair, like awesome from him. But the size difference is ridiculous. I don't know what Joe Rogan likes their hydration tests and stuff, but the weight classes don't make sense to me. Like the size, Demetrious Johnson is just so much smaller than everybody else in that weight class. It's just ridiculous. So I don't know, something's weird there. Maybe he should fight like a weight class below flyweight. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Like the size difference, and I don't know how he overcomes that against Moraes. Moraes looked really good last time. He dominated Johnson. more or less, like he controlled, not dominated, but controlled him well enough until he then backed him up against the fence and then was dropping him and landing that. So I don't know what Mighty Mouse wants to do. I mean, maybe pull out some weird, freaky technique again. That would be, but I mean, he's getting up there in age too, so I'm not sure if he still can do that. So my money's on Moraes, and who would have thought that I would ever bet against Mighty Mouse? But in this case, I would. So Adriano Moraes, I think he's also out of ATT or AKA, one of those. He's just getting better and better every time he fights. He's not that spectacular, but he's super sound with everything he does. Great striker. So yeah, I see Moraes defending. Co-main event is going to be sick. Co-main event is Muay Thai for the Americans. The first time probably exposed to lots of like high-level Muay Thai. It's Nong O, who's the champion from Thailand, and bantamweight against Liam Harrisson. Liam Harrisson is just a madman from the UK, trains here in Thailand, around the corner from where I live actually. Very often trains at Yokao gym with Sanchai, who's like considered a goat in Muay Thai. And he's just a madman. In his last fight, he got knocked down twice in the first round. Then he came back and knocked the other guy down 3 times and then won by stoppage, because 3 knockdowns mean stoppage. It's ridiculous. So Liam Harrisson always brings a fight. He's not he doesn't have the best technique. Like when you compare him to Sanjay, he's not as smooth maybe, but lots of tricks up his sleeve. Like, I mean, he's super experienced and he just never backs down. There's just no backing down for Liam Harrisson. Nong O always has a game plan, always has a left kick. And I just think he's going to kick pardon my language, he's going to kick the shit out of Harrison. He always does it. He kicks you so long for so many times. Even if you have your guard up, he just kicks your guard until your guard drops and then he takes you out. So it's going to be a kicking firework, I think. So watch that. It's going to be a great fight. Nong O is also getting there in age, so maybe Liam Harrisson can tire him out if he brings like the fire and just eventually makes Nong O tired and maybe catches him there. Who knows? Like, I mean, never count Liam Harrisson out. Like, he can always land something that just drops you. But from a technical point of view, I would give the advantage to Nong O. But it's going to be a great fight. I can't wait. That's an awesome fight. Another awesome fight is the third fight from the top. Flyweight Muay Thai, Rodtang, Rodtang, the superstar Muay Thai fighter that one is pushing. It's the Grand Prix semi-final. And it's Rodtang. He's the guy who fought Mighty Mouse in that mixed rules fight. Maybe you've seen that, like 1 round Muay Thai, 1 round MMA. And he fights a guy called Savvas Michael from Cyprus, but resides in Thailand, so he fights very much Thai style. He's been around for a long time. He still has a bit of a baby face, like the baby face assassin kind of thing. But he took a year or 2 off, Savvas Michael it is. And when he came back, he looked really good. He fights really smart. Like, he fights like a Thai fighter, but like a very active, aggressive Thai fighter, which is really cool to see. So this fight is the sleeper fight, in my opinion. Rodtang versus Savvas Michael. I don't think Rodtang will run through Savvas Michael as he runs through other people, and as many people would expect Rodtang fights to go just run through everybody. I think Savvas Michael is gonna give him a big fight, and maybe he might even steal it on points. Of course, Rodtang is the favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if Savvas Michael steals that fight on points. Okay. Then we also have Buchecha Marcos Almeida against Kirill Grishenko. It's of course set up for Almeida to win. They want the big name to keep rising. And I don't know Grishenko, to be honest. Almeida looked good last time. I was a bit critical when he came in. I was like, oh, it's just another big name that they pay to get the name recognition. But he looked good. So, I assume he keeps looking good. So I'm giving it to Almeida without knowing Grishenko. But Buchecha looked good last time around. Surprisingly good for someone who was critical about him. Then we have a heavyweight bout between... Oh god, Amir Ali Akbari, who came in with lots of fanfare, like the Iranian destroyer. He just gets slapped all the time. Not all the time, but I think 2 of his 3 losses on his record are from his 1 championship fights. He just didn't look good yet. Like, no head movement, like 0 head movement in his last 2 fights. It was not good. Like, all the fanfare and stuff, I'm like, oh, who's that? And he was just staying there, got backed up against the fence, and he didn't move his head and just got knocked out. That was not good. Mauro's really similar. Hasn't looked that much in shape the last few times he fought. But I mean, any of those guys, heavyweight, can land a hammer, of course, but both of them just haven't looked good. Like Mauro's really, like the first time I saw him against Brandon Vera and just got slapped running backwards. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably Cyrilli, because he looks like a bit more active, aggressive, I guess. But I mean, anyone who can land a shot and then take the other one out, but not very much looking forward to that one, to be honest. The first fight on the main card is Superleg Nong O in flyweight Muay Thai, also in the Grand Prix semifinal, versus Walter Gonçalves, Brazilian fighter, also based in Thailand, out of Phuket top team. Superleg out of the Nong O is like the gym that he represents. There are a few really good fighters out of that gym as well. So that's going to be a great fight too. Gonçalves has also been around forever, so maybe that catches up to him. But he's got some slick moves. I mean, you gotta go with. I mean, it's Superleg. Superleg is like really famous right now and like up and coming. So you give the advantage to Superleg, but Walter Gonçalves is great. Like I've seen a few of his fights here in Thailand. He's got slick moves. He's very tough. It's gonna be a great fight. I'm guessing Superleg has the advantage. But that's going to be a fun fight. It's great. On the lead card, so it's not the undercard. On the lead card, another great fight. The main event of the lead card, so to speak, is Amin Asiri in flyweight Muay Thai. It's the alternate fight for the Grand Prix. And it's against Jonathan Haggerty. Haggerty has been in wars with Rodtang, in 2 wars. He lost, but there was, like I said, wars. And Haggerty, a great Muay Thai fighter from the UK, like quite lengthy. Like his style is like very standing straight and just like long teeps, powerful teeps, keeping the opponent not only at range but really hurting them with the teeps and then going in with like the downward elbow. That's like the Haggerty move. So that's gonna be a fun fight. Like Haggerty is probably all just up because he's not in the actual Grand Prix semi-final, so he's gonna try to show something there, I would assume. Also in Muay Thai, in MMA, we have Itsuki Hirata back, Japanese wonder girl, super girl from. She's still pretty young. She lost in the Grand Prix, but like lots of fanfare behind her. She always brings like lots of like a wrestling heavy style, but like lots of action. Also, she's quite pretty and no judgment or anything, but that's why One Championship highlights her a lot as well, because she's got like the attractiveness and the silliness and like joking around and so on. So that's why One Championship likes to highlight her. She just been to the US for a while to train there. I think also at Cerro Longo for a while. I've seen some of the social media posts. So she's fighting Lin Hee-jin from China, which I don't know. But Itsuki Hirata looked great in all her fights except the last one. So I would simply assume she probably got much better, and I think One probably trying to get her back on the winning track. So I would assume that there should be a fight in her favor. Watch that space, because I think while they highlight her because of her cuteness and the silliness, she got the skills to back that up, so that's going to be fun. The first fight of the night will be Sebastian Kadestam, former welterweight champion in One Championship, versus Yuri Lapicus, who also always brings the fight, who brought the fight to Christian Lee. He lost to Christian Lee, but it was a fantastic fight. And Christian Lee went on to become the champion, lost the championship in the meantime, but there was a great fight between Lee and Lapicus. Kadestam just didn't look good, and ever since he lost the championship, he did not look good. Maybe that's the one who tries to bounce back. Like we've been waiting for. Everyone was watching One has been waiting for like a response from Kadestam, so maybe that's the fight where he shows a response and brings his old self back. I'm going with Lapicus because he's just always like super like tense and charged and but yeah, so that's my prediction for this one, or breakdown for this One Championship, one on Amazon Prime Video, one on Prime Video, one Moraes versus Johnson 2. That's going to be lots of fun. Watch it. And I know I'm sometimes critical of One Championship, but this card looks great. I'm critical because of no one knows how they make money. the judges, like the fights are judged in a whole, not round by round. So you're like, in the end, it's like a blue corner won. You're like, but the guy from the red corner was dominant. Why? So that's weird. And hydration tests and drug testing, but that card is great. So if you want to watch something that's not UFC, you want to get into a little bit of Muay Thai, but still lots of MMA, that's the place to go. So I'm really excited about this one championship card, and I can't wait to watch it. All right, that's it for this week's MMA corner of the FunkedPod. As always, follow social media at FunkedPod, email funkedpod@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this thing, rate this podcast so more people can find us and we can talk more about one championship, for example. Until then, as always, stay safe, take care, keep your guard up, and we talk soon. Sawadee Khap.